Hugh O'Reilly, and this is my April e-letter, and format's going to change because of everything that's going on right now. I don't think anything is normal. We can all agree upon that. And so what I have asked is that Reta Chen with Fidelity National Title, we've known each other for years and years, and we have a great relationship. And I've asked her to join me today to answer some questions. We get so much information from the mainland. We know everything about New York and Seattle, but really, I'm sure we're not on anybody's radar, which is fair enough. But people that are connected with me are interested in what is happening in Maui in particular, Hawaii, and how we are performing in this time of crisis. And so where I've asked Reta is because escrow's at the forefront. Nobody knows what's going on in real estate earlier than they do, because any new transactions, closings, cancellations, they're going to see it first before any of the realtors, because we are following data that's on the MLS, and rarely does anything get posted until it's completely done. So she can provide some insights. So I was going to ask her, my first question is, so what are we seeing in as far as trends right now in the major factors in escrows?
Okay, well, first, you're well, Hugh. Everyone's well?
Great, thank you.
Okay, well, this is just to give you some background. I've been in this industry since 1990. This will be my third economic cycle, but this is quite different than any other because basically the world has shut down its economy. Here in Hawaii, as we all know, our tourism is a huge factor to the income to our state. We have on Maui 6,000 jobs that were lost through hotels, and that's not including restaurants. And then the trickle effect of that with car rentals, the places who provide, all the equipment for car rentals, etc. So here's what we're seeing in escrow. First off, in March of this year, we have had 155 cancellations in the month of March versus 100 last March. Note here at Fidelity National Title, so 70% of our work staff is working at home. I'm going to talk about trends in a minute, but I want to kind of give your recipients just the background. What we're finding is because so many people are working at home, escrow, we are considered essential because we are housing, but because attorneys, termites, surveyors, appraisals, that most of them are at home, we are seeing a huge delay. So for appraisals, for attorneys who are drafting documents, what used to take about a day, 2-day turnaround are now taking 3 to 4 days. For signings on the mainland and here, a lot of the local mobile notaries are choosing not to work. They have a choice. A lot of the mainland mobile notaries, some are choosing to not work, but a lot of them are choosing to work. But because title and escrow, along with other industries, are so reliant on now mobile notaries, instead of getting an appointment today, ordering it and having it done tomorrow, there's at least a 2, 3, 4 wait on mobile notaries. So that's backing up closings and delaying things. Additionally, clients, they're not at home or some are not working, mobile notaries, the attorneys. And I had one more thought that just went out of my brain about the delays going on. Forgive me, Hugh, but I'll circle back, I'm sure. But to answer your question on trends, so if I can, I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so you guys, I want to share my screen because I do keep records. So what we're seeing here, first on the left-hand side, just want to let you know, this is the economic cycles that we've gone through. We are now it started this past one in June of 2009. Paul Brubaker from TZ Economics, he's an economist. He seems to think that this economic stopped actually November of last year because of tourism. So what you can see here on my graph, this is pendings versus sold starting in January of 2019. What I did actually, knowing that I was going to meet with you today, Hugh, is I actually took pendings and sold through April of today. You will notice in March, 262 deals sold versus last March, 265. So we were only off 3. Pendings, however, for this past March, we only had 150 compared to 245 last March. We know here in Hawaii that high season begins after Thanksgiving through the end of May and even the start of, the end of April and the start of May. So what we're seeing now is only now we have 2 more weeks left in the month. And even though I'm encouraged that things are going in escrow, so the pendings, we've had 18 pendings compared to last year's 271. So that's only 6% of deals are opening. That's a huge number, although we do still have 2 weeks left. And this does not include the pendings that are happening today. Agents are given about 3 or 4 days to input any activity in Paragon. So this does not include, I've already seen about 4 or 5 pendings today, so that's a good sign, but still it's so off. The closings this month so far are 79 compared to last year's 236. So you can see a big drop. Cancellations again for March, 155 this March versus 100 last year. So there's a big drop. What we're hoping for, as we know, is that V recovery, which means quick down, quick back up, versus an L, of course, or even a U. So that is pending and sold. What I also want to share with your recipients are, I just want to compare, you guys. I'm showing you first quarter of this year versus first quarter of last year. So you will notice this is for residential homes, the new listings, the pending sales. So last year, first quarter, there were 65 homes that went in escrow. This year, first quarter, 112. So, excuse me, the reverse. So it's half of what went in escrow last year. Closed sales, first quarter last year was 96, whereas this year it's 89. So you will see the differences of the month supply, the listings, the closed sales. That's for residential homes. Let's look at now the condos, which is probably more in your market, Hugh. So first quarter last year versus first quarter this year, new listings came out 173 for the first quarter of this year. That also had a lot to do with canceled escrows that went back on the market. Pending sales last year of this time was 148 versus 64. Closed sales, 154 that closed last year, this quarter, 159 closed this year. Remember that this whole thing for Maui, this stay-at-home thing act happened in mid-March, and the people losing their jobs or going on furlough happened in the mid of March. So we're really, really going to see, as we've already seen, the numbers decline in the second quarter, as you can imagine. I hope I answered your question there.
You have. So
it's a lot of numbers for sure.
It is, and I don't think there's any surprises. So let me ask you a question. You're in contact with people on the mainland. Is our trends similar to what you've talked to counterparts in various locations? Everywhere is different, of course, but do you guys have regional or, you know?
Yeah, so Fidelity, just to let you know, this is what we've been told, especially, is that we had a huge refinance flux. Interest rates went down, you know, in the beginning of the year. It was just a huge amount of refinances. We're still finding refinances, but unfortunately, because this is different, so many people have lost their jobs. You can see the unemployment, people filing for unemployment. 50% of refinances nationally are not closing. And the reason is because lenders, 2 days out, 2 days before recording, they have to verify employment. And because people have lost their jobs, we are finding nationally that those refinances are not closing. Here, locally, not so much 50% yet. We are, you know, there are some lenders who are really killing it, meaning they're closing the deals because they're taking only loan apps from people who have essential jobs and are closing the deals and who can. What, you know, this last graph, and I'm just going back to this because I wanted to give you a snapshot since April 1st. So what I'm doing now is I'm keeping weekly updates. So this is, as you'll notice, I just want to throw out a little stat here. On February 26th, I've been in the industry since 1990. I came back in 2011. The number of pendings in February 26th was 634. Huge. I hadn't seen it in the 600s since 2011 prior. And now, as you'll notice, this is as of April 8th, it was 397. And I did take a look at it this morning. Right now, pendings are at 384. So properties are closing, they are canceling, but little properties are going in escrow. So 18 for the month so far.
And so really what we're going to be seeing is we're seeing some transactions that were well down the track prior to COVID really taking hold and really ramping up. And we're probably 30 to 60 days to really understanding what's the fallout, what's the new realm, what's the new reality, what's the price, because people ask me all the time. I have people looking to buy and I have people wanting to sell. And I'm saying, I can't tell you what your property's valued if you want to sell, and I don't know what a fair asking price is. You don't want to insult anyone, but at the same time, there was going to be a new reality, and I'm telling people, keep your powder dry, talk to your lenders, hopefully keep jobs and employment, but the opportunity will present itself. And if you love Maui, you've got to take the long view and say, okay, when do I get in? Because as we know, everyone will tell you cannot time a market top or bottom. It doesn't matter if it's stocks or real estate.
Right.
But if this is something your family wants to do and you're keen on doing it, I think there is an opportunity coming up in the next, I'm going to say 30 to 60 days, we'll have better numbers. But a week today is now like a month, a day is like a week. So I'm hoping that people will take this conversation, send me some questions, and maybe you and I can get together in a couple of weeks and we have a further update. 2 weeks,
yeah.
The world's going to be a lot.
And remember too, just a reminder, we know that April closings right now are based on February openings,
right,
basically. So what we can see already are the number of pendings or the number of new listings, but we're really not going to actually see value, or the second quarter is going to be just a huge reflection of what we've gone through in March.
And we've seen this before. This is, like you said, the fourth cycle of something, not as big as this maybe, but we've had some big ones. We've
had some big ones, but a worldwide economic slowdown, and here in Hawaii especially, because tourism is such a huge backbone to our economy, I don't think we've ever seen this, and the ripple effect of this, and it may be long lasting, but we're hoping for that V recovery.
Yeah. And I can say, as someone, observing every state's treating it differently, I give kudos to our leaders. We have locked this place down. We went from 33,000 arrivals a day. We're down to 800. A third of that is flight crews. So most of that's residents, a handful of people that are employment coming in for jobs, almost no tourists. So when we recover, we're going to be a safe spot. So I think Hawaii will be a beneficiary as a tropical destination because of the standards we've kept and held during this period. So I think one can be optimistic we'll be a safe place when we can reopen.
Yeah, that's what we're all hoping for.
Okay, Reta, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And people, please send your questions to me, Hugh@HughO'Reilly.com, and I'll track down answers as best I can, and we'll do another podcast like this, get back to people and keep you updated on what's going on. But thank you again, everyone.
Take care, Hugh.
Thank you, Reta.
Okay.
Okay.